Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in our city who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, the chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and your host. The commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guests today are Dr. Joni Jones, the Executive Director of the Banneker-Douglass Museum and of the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture, and artist Delphine Williams. In our first segment, I will be talking with Dr. Jones, and my second segment will focus on Ms. Williams. Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics, Dr. Jones.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mike Keller. It's a pleasure to be here.
Could you tell our viewers about the museum and the service that it provides to citizens?
Certainly. The Banneker-Douglass Museum is actually this year celebrating its 25th anniversary, named after Benjamin Banneker, first African-American man of science, and Frederick Douglass, abolitionist, orator, and statesman. Our mission is to document, preserve, promote the history and culture of the history and culture of African Americans in Maryland. We provide such services as workshops, lectures, tours, both guided, unguided, and events and programmings highlighting the achievements of African American Marylanders.
Okay. There are other institutions around Maryland which have a similar mission to the Banneker-Douglass Museum. What sets the Banneker-Douglass Museum apart from those other museums and historical sites? And what makes Banneker-Douglass very special?
Oh, that's a very good question. What makes Banneker-Douglass special? What sets us apart? Well, firstly, we are located in a historic landmark. We are housed in what used to be Mount Moriah AME Church, which dates back to 1874. For over a century, for nearly a century, it served as a house of worship. We started in 1984, and our mission has always been to promote African American heritage. Where we're different from, say, the Lewis Museum in Baltimore is that while they can tell the African American story in much broader strokes, dealing with a sort of national perspective, we can focus in and concentrate on the stories of individuals, community groups, and exhaust a theme because of our smaller size and our commitment to helping those stories, those individuals, those artists get their story told and to get their work out. We also are mandated to help community groups, smaller institutions to tell their stories, and that could be in the form of preserving one's family portraits, family records, family photographs, to launching one's own exhibit, or perhaps even to creating a museum of one's own.
Why is it important for the community to hear the stories and learn about the information that's represented by the exhibits in the museum?
Well, museums are educational institutions first and foremost, and the Banneker-Douglass Museum strives to be a safe space to talk about race, to talk about discrimination, and to talk about the lives of those people who have achieved against the odds to impact those stories in a positive way. So I think it's important for people to come here to to learn those stories, to enter in conversations, to see how what they learn here is part of the American experience, the Maryland experience, and to celebrate with us.
You have a special relationship to the museum based on your background. And I also am aware that you've just first joined the museum
Yes.
as executive director. Can you tell our viewers a little bit
Sure.
about what that special relationship is, and a little bit about your background, and what has led you to take the position here as executive director of the museum and the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture?
Well, actually, I've been a member of the Banneker-Douglass Museum staff for 2 years, and I've been recently promoted to executive director and museum director. Before that, I was the librarian archivist here and what has become known as the Sylvia Gaither Garrison Library. Some of your viewers may know Sylvia Gaither Garrison, a longtime community activist in Anne Arundel County. Before that, she was a teacher at Wiley H. Bates High School and became a librarian. We are all from the northern part of Anne Arundel County, a small African-American community called Queenstown. And that community consists of probably 85% of the people are related, and I'm part of those families. There's always been a push towards education, celebrating African American achievement, and I am really following this in the footsteps of Sylvia Gaither Garrison, who is my aunt. In 1984, she set up the library here. I actually didn't know that when I started. I was informed by the wonderful Banneker-Douglass Museum Foundation member, Ms. Yabola Peters. So it just made my decision to come here seem predestined. So, so I'm here to celebrate those stories and see how they fit into the broader Maryland African American story, but then also the broader Maryland story.
Okay. With an institution like the museum, providing important information and stories for the community, one of the challenges any director is going to have is going to be competing with a tremendous amount of other activities that are going out outside. What kinds of steps are you taking to increase the visibility of the Banneker-Douglass Museum and its programs and services and exhibits within the community, and increasing the likelihood that people will be able to take part in it and be advantaged by it?
Yes, that's another great question. And the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that we are about to celebrate our first anniversary as a unit of the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. Their goal is to reach out to the different communities across the state to assist communities in various types of needs. We help the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives by providing spaces for different state agencies, communities to meet on equal footing to talk about some of those issues. We also provide exhibits and tours based on some of the things that we learn from those interactions. Well, we call it GOSI. GOSI has increased our profile and visitation. Our community partners, our local partners, we find ourselves doing more with Historic Annapolis Foundation, for example. Just this February, we were part of the Historic Annapolis African American History Symposium. We are partnering frequently with the Four Rivers Heritage Area. We're part of their coordinating council. Oh, let me see. There's so many things that we're doing to increase our partnerships. We have a partnership with the Maryland State Archives. We share the A.B. Koger collection, which is an African-American attorney turned researcher. We are continuing our partnership with One Maryland, One Book, which is a product of the Maryland Humanities Council. So we're looking to increase partnerships. We have participated in different ways, but we also find that the Governor's Office on Community Initiatives is making Maryland a little smaller by bringing people to us, increasing our visitation, but also helping us go out to their communities and reach out, which is actually where the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture is situated. What we do with the commission is that we go to different counties and communities across the nation, and we're a panel of experts in African American history and provide guidance and technical assistance.
What kinds of upcoming activities and programs and exhibits do you have on tap at the museum that you can share with our viewers so that they can come out and see them?
Oh, sure. Well, one exhibit that's been going on and that will continue at least through the summer is Journey to the White House, and that is a narrative quilt produced by fiber artist and educator Dr. Joan Gaither, who's the chair of undergraduate studies at Maryland Institute College of Art, and that is an 8x8 quilt that tells the story of Barack Obama. That will be on display through the summer. As part of our state mandate to reach across the state, we are about to launch the Miss Delphine Williams exhibit, 40 Blossoms from the Bouquet, African American women leaders from Calvert County, depending on your perspective. Let's see, and during the summer we also will continue some of our series with geocaching workshops, oral history workshops, genealogical workshops. Oh, and I should mention that Ms. Delphine's opening reception and artist talk will be July 11th at 1 o'clock. Next year, what we're working on right now is actually an exhibit focusing on former Annapolis Police Chief Joseph Johnson, and that's going to go up in 2010.
Okay.
Yes.
If some of our viewers wanted to get more information about the museum, could you give your website information or a telephone number that they can use to contact you and to learn more about you?
Well, I'd be happy to do so. Our website is bdmuseum.com. That's www.bdmuseum.com. Our phone number is 410-216-6180. And let me just say that for the summer, as a better way to serve our audience, we have extended hours. On Thursdays, we're open until 7, and Sundays we're going to open for the first time from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and that's until Labor Day. So please come and visit us and let us know how we can better serve you.
And we're going to take a break right now, and when we return, I will be speaking with an exhibitor at the Banneker-Douglass Museum, artist Delphine Williams. We are filming today from the Banneker-Douglass Museum, where we are surrounded by beautiful artwork prepared by artist Delphine Williams. And Miss Williams is my guest today on Annapolis Mosaics, and I'd like to welcome you to the show, Miss Williams, and thank you for participating with us. Let's start by asking if you would tell our viewers about yourself. When and why did you decide to become an artist?
I've loved art from a child. I always wanted a crayon to color. I saw so much beauty around me. I wanted to captivate it, and I just enjoyed art. I enjoyed art in school, doing arts and crafts projects at home as well. And art just seemed to have been something that I was consumed with from a child.
What do you go through when you try to pick out the subjects for your art? What criteria do you use to select the topics that you pick?
Sometimes it's with something that is really happening at the time, but I'm spiritually led in a lot of my work. Seeing my neighborhood, especially this project, the 40 Blossoms from the Bouquet, I saw a need in my community. I saw the works that these people did. They had worked tirelessly in the community, and some of them still were into careers and still come home in the evenings and continue on community activities one after another. I met years back a lady by the name of Ruth Reed that carried, before times were, I guess you say, these fancy watches that beeped and everything, she would carry in her pocketbook an alarm clock to make sure that she could make one event after another. And this lady worked tirelessly for fundraisers, working individually with children, and just continually provided activities and help for the community through what her resources could do. And Mrs. Ruth Reed just rolled up her sleeves with the Links Incorporated and other groups like that. Her community services were just endless. And then I could see the need to do my part also. I could see the need for people to know what it takes and to exemplify it through this Painterly project. And I wanted something for the children also, the future generations. We were losing people in the community, and I didn't want it to become a faded memory either. I wanted to preserve this culture. I wanted to show this historical significance. As I'm talking to you, I'm looking about at some of the portraits, like Glenda Anderson, right behind me, the Brown sisters. And I'll cut it at that because I'm almost sure I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, you're doing. Right. No, this is fine. This is fascinating. You know, our viewers can see several of the portraits that you painted behind us, but you can also, from our vantage point, see the many paintings that you've done on the walls of the museum. You have to actually come to the museum to really appreciate the beauty of Miss Williams's work. But the title of the exhibit is very interesting. Again, it's 40 Blossoms from the Bouquet, African American Female Leaders of Calvert County, Maryland. Could you tell our viewers the meaning of that title? How did you come up with that very interesting title?
I saw this group of women. Our community was full of all these beautiful women that did all these fantastic things. And I said, they're like a bouquet of flowers. I'll take 40 blossoms from that bouquet. Hopefully I had wanted to do 40 more, but to work with this first 40, I decided that I would just move forward on faith. Again, like I said, inspired by scripture too. Let the works of their hands praise them in the gates. Proverbs 31:31. But again, to have 40 blossoms from the bouquet from Calvert County, I thought I would try it, but there are other communities also. All right, yeah. There are many more to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you want people to learn about and appreciate about your artwork and especially this very nice exhibit here?
It's culturally and historically significant. We have even the Brown sisters in this exhibit. Again, I referenced earlier to them. In the 1930s, this young lady, with the help of Thurgood Marshall, acquired that for the African American teacher of Calvert County, and then the next with that. Mm-hmm. That was major, a major triumph for them, a step forward. And her sister who supported her, Elizabeth and Regina Brown, worked together. Right.
All right. That was a very fascinating story of that individual, and you've got 40 individuals here who have made tremendous contributions. Are there, and we obviously cannot talk about each one of them today, but are there others whose stories really think are especially meaningful to you that you would like to share with our viewers?
Oh yes, quite a few.
Well, pick out another one or two.
Aileen Stamper, our statesman, activist. There is a court even named after her. Aileen Stamper came into the school system here with inadequate classrooms. She had to start even getting her blackboards, the heating, portable stoves and so forth into her classroom. She even brought things from home like her sewing machine. Aileen Stamper had to work on candy projects to get supplies and so forth for her students. She worked tirelessly in the community, even as just a teacher. Aileen Stamper is no longer with us, but her work will be felt and can be seen even in the Stamper Court area. Her work with young women in particular. A lot of us will miss Aileen Stamper because she was sort of like a guardian angel. She did so many wonderful things for the community. And Judge Lincoln K. Stewart, she works with the community and the community at large. Judge Stewart, with the magnitude of work and things that she has to do with her situation as being a judge, her career as being a judge, she still comes back to Calhoun County and shares a lot with the community, rolls up her sleeves, does all this volunteer work. I hardly know when she really takes a good rest. Aileen Stamper, then we have, oh boy, where was I? Okay, Mrs. Jones over here. Mrs. Vivian Jones, she is one of the dearest people also and most exciting people. She has quite an involved biography. Teacher, principal. She had the first integrated classroom. That had been a heavy weight. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
There are other exhibit halls in the state where you could have shown your work. Why did you select the Banneker-Douglass Museum?
The significance of it, I was overwhelmed when they accepted it. The Banneker-Douglass is culturally, historically significant to the community, and I thought my project was also. And I became quite excited about that, very overwhelmed. In fact, tears came in my eyes when they suggest they wanted it. And I was so pleased, so pleased. And of course the community too. Mm-hmm. All right.
Are you working on any other projects right now that you would like to share with our viewers today?
Yes, I'm working on other projects, plus I write also. Again, I am inspired a great deal by scripture. We all know about the Katrina storm, right? Mm-hmm. I'm doing a stormy exhibit also. That was so emotional to me. I guess you say, how do I paint up a storm? But I've just developed so much visually in my mind about that storm. The Stormy exhibit has some surrealistic like images to it. The Stormy exhibit will be historically significant when I finish. I had collected a lot of articles from the newspapers and so forth to go along with my images. But as far as the other portrait type projects, I have one on the brothers, I have one on the pastors, and I still have other community leaders that I would like to finish and work with also. But my work is ongoing, just like the women in the community. Their work is ongoing, and they roll up their sleeves from sunup to sundown.
Now, I think you've got something that you wanted to talk to our viewers about. You say it's a storybook.
Oh,
Tell us about that.
Freckles with all the speckles.
Oh, okay.
This is for children, ages about 3 to about 8 years old. It's to inspire our children as early as possible to want to go to school, to get that education and learn as much as they can. They should enjoy this. It talks about going to school, being smart and jolly, reading and writing, no folly, getting their feet off the ground, don't fool around, keep rowing and sewing because the run of the mill is boring. It's freckles with all the speckles.
Well, that's fascinating. Earlier in our interview with Dr. Jones, she mentioned the scheduling for the reception of your exhibit here. Could you remind our viewers again, what are those dates?
July 11,
July 11th.
1 p.m.
Okay, July 11th, 1 p.m. You'll have a chance to actually see the work of artist Delphine Williams, and it is absolutely beautiful. We have been viewing today at the Banneker-Douglass Museum, speaking with the executive director, Dr. Joni Jones, and most recent exhibitor, artist Delphine Williams. Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like to have more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, please jot down the information that's on your screen. You can reach us at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov. Also, check out our page on the City of Annapolis website, www.annapolis.gov. Click on City Government, then Boards and Commissions, and scroll down to our page. And remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We have flown the air like birds and swum the seas like fishes, but have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters."